What's up and welcome to the Kinda Funny Gamescast for Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. Of course, I am Tim Geddes. I am joined today by a very lovely panel on this very lovely day. We have the future of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Good day, Tim.
With the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez.
Good day, Tim.
And we have the man of the hour. For years, we have let this man spout his opinions about video games, whether it was at IGN.com, writing review after a review of good game, bad game, and everything in between, or here at Kinda Funny, doing the exact same thing, but instead of using his pen, he used his big old mouth. He said things you've agreed with, he said things that you didn't agree with, and those are the things that we're talking about today. The takes of Greg Miller that you thought were so bad that you had to call us using a phone to tell us your thoughts on Greg's thoughts. And today we're going to listen to those recordings and we're going to have Greg atone for his sins? Question mark? Greg, how do you feel about this?
From the top of the show, motherfucker, I don't acknowledge or respect the authority of this kangaroo court, all right? You've all supported me for too long, all right? You all wanted the truth, and sometimes you can't handle the hard truths, so that's on you, all right? We'll see what evidence these fucking knuckle draggers are gonna bring here, all
Knuckle
right?
draggers.
Damn.
I don't like that.
King Kong fans are gonna show up with to talk shit to me about. I'd say troglodytes, but they took when I insulted them the one time, they took it as their little goddamn fan club name.
Yeah.
All right, I've done nothing wrong. What do I think? I doubt I'm gonna be wrong on any of these. You'll see, Andy. They're gonna come up and it's gonna be right, and I'm gonna fucking be nailed. They're gonna sit there and they're gonna apologize. I expect the phone calls to come into the number we used as an apology when this is done.
Oh, shit. Okay, cool. Maybe that'll be a follow-up episode, but I somehow
I
doubt
also
it.
don't understand how you guys weaseled out of this, because the original pitch was our bad gaming takes, and somehow it evolved
find
into
them.
I don't know,
Greg Miller's.
At 404, you know?
There weren't a whole lot. Yeah, there wasn't anything to really find in there. I have one to submit that isn't gaming related.
Okay.
Cooked fish being bad.
Fucking awful. Fish sucks unless it's raw, all right? Or fried. I get it. I can down with fried fish here and there.
Bless, how do you think this is going to go today?
I'm gonna have a lot of fun today.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I was in favor for like the let's do it all together, but I think the conversation evolved into like let's start with Greg and then see what else we can do. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not doing one of these for me. If you try to pitch a Blessing episode, I'm not gonna show up that day.
I'll be sick that day.
Yeah.
Andy, what about you?
I'm super stoked. It'll be a nice sort of looking back at the past.
Yeah.
Looking back at how you realize, he was even an idiot back then. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Really
There's
excited
one in
about it.
particular that I hope comes up, and I expect will come up because it's absolutely blasphemous. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to spoil anything for y'all because this is.
Did you call in? Did you call in?
I did not call in. I probably
I should have called in.
But I'm sure that people will speak for me.
How recent do you think this goes? Do you think that somebody has a call about something you said 2 weeks ago?
No. What have I been wrong about recently?
Oh, let me tell you.
What do you got, Bless?
All of it.
You want to
All of
lead
it.
this off?
I actually don't have anything in mind.
Damn it.
Honestly, the only thing that comes to mind is
It's too many to think of.
Starfield. But I feel like if I go behind that, if I go further back than that, 12 minutes, I can stand your take on 12 minutes. It's a good game. Come on, let's be better.
Let's be better.
Let's be better.
Everybody, let's be better together here on the Kinda Funny Gamescast, where each and every weekday we get together to talk about the biggest reviews, previews, and topics in video games live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, please support us with the Kinda Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free. You get to watch us record them live, and you get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube Super Chats.
Yeah, you fucking jackasses. What do you got to say, Super Chat people?
Yeah, super
Fucking monetize your hate, all right? We're going to have to sit here in the fucking dunce corner. People yelling at me for a 2008 review. I don't know what the fuck's happening.
You can yell at us via YouTube.
He's already very defensive.
So please do that.
I'm on trial for nothing. I was doing my job.
Some housekeeping for you. Kinda Funny Games is an 11-person small business that's all about live talk shows. You already got us talking about PlayStation's future with CEOs and all of that stuff on Kinda Funny Games Daily. Up next, we have the Pokemon Nuzlocke continuing over for our stream on YouTube and Twitch. And if you're a Kinda Funny member, today's Gregway is...
why is it so hard to get rich quick? You know what I mean? Fuck the stock market. Listen.
Wow. And then, of course, you can get a whole bunch of other stuff on just all the kind of things. I agree. Check that out. Thank you for making our dreams a reality, Patreon producers Delaney Twining, Kieran Hofasapian, and Carl Jacobs. You really are the best of us. Today, we're brought to you by the Kind of Funny membership, but we'll tell you all about that later. For now, we got to start with the topic of the show. TOTS. Remember, get your super chats in, everybody. We'll get to them through the whole thing. But Greg, enough stalling, enough dillying, enough dallying, enough shillying, enough shallying, all right? It's time to get to your bad takes, okay? I want to start with Jason. Jason called in. Can we hear him, Kevin?
Hi, Greg. This is Jason. I've been listening to you for a long time, since the IGN days. Heard a lot of your takes, man. Let's see. Bad takes. Well, no, none of them. They're all 100% great. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's another episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast in the books.
What we're doing. We're not doing this.
We're not doing this, everybody.
We're not
no.
doing this,
we have to hold him accountable. We can't be reasonable. We can't understand that opinions are opinions.
Jason's
and everyone's
a smart fan,
entitled.
unlike these knuckle draggers in the chat, all right? Go back to your Geico caveman commercial, all right?
I just don't like knuckle draggers. I don't know, something about
He's
it.
caveman, right?
I mean, yeah, but I don't something about it though.
How does this make you feel, Greg? The first person writing in saying that you're perfect.
I think that's honestly going to be the majority of the opinions here. I think people probably just search their memory banks, find something. But video games are art. Are we all going to agree, Andy? Of course not. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have a podcast if we all agreed all the time. Because we'd all just go
Why
out
are we going to
there.
act like some opinions aren't dumb? You know what I mean? Like,
I've never had a dumb opinion.
let's fucking dunk on some dumb opinions. We've all had dumb opinions.
I wonder if Blaster Goblin thinks that Greg's had a dumb opinion. Kevin, can we play Blaster Goblin, please?
Hey, Greg. It's your favorite Kind of Funny best friend, Blaster Goblin here.
Great name.
I'm just calling to ask how you managed to keep your career in the games industry after giving Gotham City Imposters a 7, and Angry Birds a 7.5. We all know Gotham City Imposters is a dead. Thanks, Greg.
Huh. That's an odd one.
See,
that's
that's
not one.
It's odd because I don't know if he's saying that it's too low or too high.
I think he's saying it's way too low.
I think he's saying I scored Gotham City Imposters at IGN on February 10th, 2012 too low.
Okay.
because a 7 seems very appropriate.
Gotham City's Imposters, this is IGN.com. Gotham City Imposters is a functional shooter with a sense of humor and a Batman license. It's got plenty to unlock, but it's not all that deep. Go, shoot, win, over and over. If you're looking for a first-person shooter that doesn't take itself seriously, have at it, but don't expect an FPS revolution.
I feel like over history, Gotham City Imposters has become like a very beloved franchise.
Really?
Yeah, over time, people keep on. It's always like the darling on the internet. It's like, oh, bring back Gotham City Imposters.
But nobody is out here being like Gotham City Imposters is one of the best video games ever made.
Are they just comparing it to the Angry Birds score of 7.5?
I guess so. Angry Birds review, January 10th, 2011. I'm going to give, because this is Angry Birds. The Addictive Touch game is revamped as a PlayStation Mini.
Okay, there we go. 'Cause I was about to say, Angry Birds getting 7.5. That sounds low to me.
Verdict. There's no denying that Angry Birds is fun, but it could use polish, such as sharper visuals, a better price, and smoother action. It's one of those games I could play for a few hours on a plane or obsess over on my couch. Angry Birds, what are we're going to talk shit about Angry Birds now?
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me. But the PlayStation Mini version, 7.5, all of that starts to crystallize a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm looking through this.
I
I mentioned the price, though, so how much were they trying to sell this Mini for?
The fuck is a PlayStation Mini?
The game is $3.99 at release. That's
that?
a bit high considering the iPhone version sells for 99 cents and has an extra set of stages. This one doesn't. Even when the game was first released in the App Store, it only cost $1.99. Also, remember this is a PlayStation Mini, so by design, it has no online leaderboards or trophies. So, Andy,
take them back.
I know that you limp dick PC fans like to think you invented indie gaming and, supporting a digital only storefront, but perhaps one of the most forward thinking companies in the world, Sony PlayStation, said,
How late did it take for them to get crossplay?
They want to protect the children. It's interesting that you PC players don't.
Interesting.
They decided that, you know what? The PSP been fucking killing it. You know what I mean? So what if we just took away the disk drive and made a PSP Go? All right? A little sexiest little device you ever
I
seen.
remember
You know what I mean? And when they
It
launched
looked
that,
like the Sony Xperia Go cell phone.
exactly. When they launched that, they launched an initiative called PlayStation Minis that were just downloadable games that were very small, little bite-sized experiences or whatever. And one of them was Angry Birds.
Wow.
7.5 on IGN.
7.5, better than Gotham City Imposters. Gotham City Imposters, I remember just being such a
7 out of 10.
fine experience, but like not being like, as a DC fan, right? That's why I did it, because I'm not a shooter guy. But I remember it just being okay, this is fine. It's not Batman, but it's not whatever, but it's fun enough.
Would you stand by a 7 out of 10 today with your memory of Gotham City Imposters?
I winced when he read it, because I thought I thought it was gonna be really low. So 7, yeah, I'd stand by that. Sure,
Yeah.
that sounds right. Where I have no amazing memories of it. I remember running on rooftops and being a fat guy in a Batman shirt and a Batman face mask that I put on
Last
right?
weekend, yeah.
Metacritic for Gotham City Imposters 71. So you're right in
You know
line.
what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, also, he was the one that caused it. You know what I mean?
He threw his weight behind it, and that's what happened. That's how that got there.
All right, well, let's move on.
So you're wrong, Jason. Was that Jason? No,
that was
Blaster
Blaster
Goblin.
Goblin.
You're wrong.
Jason's on your side.
Thank you, Jason. Sorry. The check will clear soon.
Let's go right down the list, Kev. Let's move on to this one from New World Lawn Service.
Hey, Greg. It's Eric here. I've been following you for a long time, and most of the time I respect your opinions, and I'd be like, different opinions, everyone's
You raise
got
it, Kev?
right? But the one I just can't get over is with Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, you say what you will about the gameplay, maybe the game's too long, but when you drop out of the story because you're just like, I just don't like playing the bad guy. It's like, well, that's the story. You gotta keep going. I mean, like in one of your favorite movies of all time, a murderer, he's like, I won't fail him in life, or I failed him in life, but I won't fail him in death. Because they had the same mom named Martha. Like, that's character development. I just can't let it go, man.
Thank you. Thank you, New World Lawn Service. That's a great take. That's a great fucking take.
But that's not. There's actually. I'd want to hear one from Sandra as well, Kevin.
And this is Andrew Bolin, and it's honestly Red Dead Redemption 2. It is the most Greg game I've ever played. It is wonderful for so many different reasons. For reasons you love other games, and yet for some reason you have continued to never give it a chance. Change your mind. Go back and play it. I think you'll love it.
Wait, that's Sandra Bullock?
So I don't know what was said. It sounded like I'm Andrew Bolin. It might have been what it said.
Yeah.
I do in front of me on this doc have a transcription of it, and it does say it's Sandra Bullock.
So we took the voicemail transcription, guys.
Google Voice gives you a transcription. Yeah, so they've been put it that way. That's hilarious. So I'll start with Sandy Bullock.
We got one more. Do you want the one?
Fucking
we got one more. Can we play
I'm
Lukenback?
apparently on trial. Go for it.
Can we play Lukenback?
Greg Miller, Kendrick Lukenback here from the Kendrick Cast podcast. It's been a long time. We've been listening. We've been out there from the Beyond days to the PS I Love You days. Many takes. But more recently, 5 years ago, end of 2018, you hated Red Dead Redemption 2. It's one of the most masterpieces of the PS4 generation.
I can't even fucking say a sentence.
97% on Metacritic. You went on Red Dead Radio, Jared Petty, talked about how the story didn't click with you, Arthur Morgan didn't click with you.
Yeah.
But brother, let me tell you, you go on stream with this game, you get to chapter 3, and you just go out and explore the open world, let it breathe in you, let the open world speak to you, and I'm telling you, brother, that open world is going to live within you. I think you're missing out. Check it out. Take care. Bye. Beyond!
Beyond! Sandra Bullock, Cameron Lukenbach, Texas. Get fucked, all right?
Wow.
Seriously. Oh, fucking get to chapter 3. Why don't you never gave Sandra Bullock, you never gave this game a chance. I played 20 plus fucking hours of this game, never once had fun, never enjoyed the story, never enjoyed Arthur Morgan. I've said before, it's a work of art. I get it. It's not art I connected with. And why I know that I'm right on this take is because no one ever fucking comes at me for Red Dead Redemption.
Listen here, Dutch. This guy's a fucking idiot, Dutch. This guy would rather play an Assassin's Creed game for the 14th time, Dutch.
Barrett, get in here.
That sucks. It's the worst take, dude. This take is one of the, like, you're right. We kind of forget this one because there's been a lot of terrible ones since then. But like when you go home and you're like, man, I could just fucking exist in any of these Assassin's Creed games. My God, give me Rise of the Ronin all day. I want a little friend to walk up to me with a checklist and say, go pick 5 fucking plants over here. Go kill 6 deer over here. And you'll get that XP to go up. You just want that serotonin. How about you just have an experiential moment with Red Dead Redemption 2?
I did.
That game was a masterpiece.
I'm bored riding in the snow. I'm bored going on here. I can't run and camp. This fucking sucks. I fucking suck. My team surrounding me fucking sucks. Why even give me the choice then too? Then they, oh, your ex-girlfriend's here. Do you want to help her with her abusive husband or whatever? And I was like, no, just walked away. Then everybody's like, oh, you ruined that storyline. Why give me the choice then?
That doesn't
cast me as a piece of shit. And then when I do the fucking thing that's a piece of shit, oh, and people write, but it's called Red Dead Redemption. You got to get in the game for the redemption.
How about you get redeemed?
What the fuck was John Morrison's problem in the first game?
How about you get redeemed?
So much fun from the start in Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption. I don't want to play as a bad guy. How about you become a good guy? I don't want to be a bad guy. I don't like doing crimes. I'll be Joel in fucking Last of Us and be a piece of shit.
That was great because you didn't know you're a piece of shit till the end of it. You know what I mean? That was a fucking brilliant
You kind of knew. You kind of knew.
Brilliant. The redemption already happened. Him and Tommy already did so much fucked up shit, but we didn't need it spelled out for us. I'm right on this one because I get yelled at all the time.
It's called a character arc.
No one yells at me about this
Learn
game.
it.
Everyone loves Red Dead Redemption 1.
The Batman versus Superman fan doesn't know what a character arc is. Shocking.
They're fine.
What's good writing? What's good character writing? I have no fucking idea. I love Batman versus Superman.
I agree with
Yo, are there big titties and a fucking Perry button? That's all you care about.
So you agree with Greg?
I agree with Greg, yeah.
Go for it, bless.
No, I mean, the part of this where I started having war flashbacks is when Lukenback talked about, like, oh, you just got to get to chapter 3. Because I heard that so much, and I was like, bet. Not only will I get to chapter 3, I'll get to chapter 4. And I got to chapter 4, and I was like, fuck this video game. I'm out of here. I think the problem with Red Dead is not that it doesn't do a good job at being art. I think Red Dead is...
It's great art.
It's great art. It's one of the most impressive video games of all time, just for, like, how well put together it is. And yeah, like, the horse balls growing and shrinking depending on the temperature.
Yeah, horse balls.
And then also just the amount of, like, detail and how good the open world looks, right? Like, it is a very well put together video game, and I think it's doing a lot of things with its writing and storytelling and all that stuff. I think the problem that Red Dead Redemption 2 has isn't that, like, it fails to be art. I think it fails to be a fun video game. And, like, I know we talk about, should video games be fun? Do video games need to be like, we have that conversation all the time. Thank you. Is that Kevin or Barrett? I can't tell, but thank you. That's Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. It's a game that at all moments, I think fails as like a fun open world experience or an engaging open world experience. Like, let me even take the word fun out of it. I was bored out of my mind going from point A to point B on my horse, going from fucking open world check mark to open world check mark. It does the thing where it is, hey, get lost in the world, be in the world, but it still has the same like Rockstar open world design structure that lends itself way more to hey, don't get lost, go from point A to point B. Hey, we have like an icon here for you to go to, and then do the story mission. Story mission is usually ride your horse here and get into a shootout. All right, you did it. It was all very slow because it's cowboy times, but you did it. All right, now go to the next checkpoint. It felt so structured, and that is not what I want out of an open world video game. I think the reason why GTA works so well in being the same kind of thing is that in all of that, you're fucking driving around and you're fucking like getting into like more, I think, fast-paced, more interesting shootouts. Like, there's just a lot more going on in GTA from like a speed side of things and just an action side of things. Red Dead is so slow and methodical, which is great for cosplaying and role-playing as a cowboy, but it's just not great for a video game.
It was a 4 out of 5 Elden Ring reviewer right here.
I changed it.
Just so
I
we
changed
know.
my mind.
Just so we know.
I changed it.
Maybe you needed more time with it.
But also,
Maybe you needed more time with it.
The first 20 hours.
Did you back it up?
In the 4 out of 5?
I don't know if you can back up a 4 out of 5 for Elden Ring.
The fucking grind in the first 20 hours
Oh my
of Elden
God.
Ring.
Look how revisionist this is.
Let's talk about no, because I stand by.
Take the smoke.
Because I stand by my first review of Elden Ring, which again, first of all, fuck From Software. First of all, because they gave us that review code like 6 days before the review fucking embargo. I played 20 hours of it. You should have gave us more time if you wanted a better review. Second of all, in the first 20 hours, I'm just fucking on a hill
They're
grinding.
okay. I think they're fine.
The fucking six days. Hey, play this 100-hour game in 6 days.
Reviewers, 4 out of 5.
And y'all have final reviews. How do you have a final review out after 6 days? Get it together.
I think it's gonna lower to 3.5 after.
I mean, now I'm like, you know what, man? Maybe Elden Ring sucks.
It seems like it.
The fucking
This
first
is a
20
great
hours.
idea, everybody.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tear the entire team apart.
This is Tony and Andy's voice I have never heard, and I am here for it, everybody.
I think again, like I stand by, and I love the conversation I did with Jared Petty on his podcast about it, where I was like, it's just not working for me, but I totally get it, and I understand why, and I think that is the joy and amazing nature of video games, where you can get something out of it, do something out of it. But it is, you throw it at me jokingly, but also seriously, I know to a degree, of the Assassin's Creed or Rise of the Ronin or checklist games or Fallout 76, like I'm obsessed with right now. But it is that idea that like, I am playing games for entertainment and enjoyment, right? So if I jump in and I'm not having fun, and for me, after 20 hours of just not having fun, it's like, well, I can't do this, right? Like, I don't care what happens in chapter 3 because already you've done this. And I think there's a great analog to it, right? Of like, I'm going to fuck it up. What's the latest Scorsese one with DiCaprio?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Thank you, right? Where Jen and I I love Scorsese films, right? We were so stoked for it. And we got it. And Jen was like, let's rent it. And I looked at it. I'm like, babe, we have a 2-year-old and fall asleep in an hour, usually watching TV. And this is like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour long movie, right? So we bought it straight up. We've enjoyed it, but we just haven't gone back to it. Where it's just been one of those things of like, it's got its own pace and it's got a Scorsese pace, which I really, really enjoy. But it's just like, Jen and I have that shared 45 minutes, it's like, do we want to chip away at that or do something you can knock out that's going to be more enjoyable in the moment rather than a long-lasting picture of what's going to be?
But I also think you're allowed to critique it for being slow or for being what it is, right? I think just because something presents itself as art or something that needs to be taken seriously in that way, that doesn't mean that we can't critique it for the art that it is.
100%. That's the whole point of this, right?
Yeah.
We got some super chats writing in. Benny Be Good just says, dance, Greg. Only special feature says, it's not a game take, but Greg's hate for chili, I'll never understand.
Looks like diarrhea. Beans don't taste good. I don't know. I mean,
it's the beans.
Fuck, I'm learning this episode. I'm way more similar to Greg than I imagined. Because I'm with you on chili.
Learn your allies right here, Blessing. You don't want this as your ally.
Like as a kid, what was it? Was it the Fritos that people would crunch up? I thought even that could help. Didn't help.
No, yeah.
The chili is the texture.
It's just, this
I got 12 cans in my room.
Those are beanless though, right?
Optimus Prime says, John Marston wouldn't be half the man he was without Arthur Morgan, you fucking Sasquatch. Arthur built John in a cave.
What's so great about that though is like, this is literally exactly what you're always talking about, where it's like, I don't need the backstory. I don't need this prequel movie. I loved the first one. John was great. Right off the gate, you hit it. We were ripping. We were having a lot of fun. And then you guys were like, let me also tell you a 90-hour boring story. I'm like, I don't need that.
I think like what best summarizes.
I didn't know you loved Red Dead 2.
Red Dead 2 is like this amazing TikTok of a guy streaming it, going through the snow and being like, "Fuck, man, this is just taking so fucking long."
Yeah,
and it cuts him at the end of the game, tears in his fucking eyes.
See, my story of like,
it's amazing.
What caused me to rage quit Red Dead 2 was I got to Saint Denis for the first time, right? I rode
through your controller.
I threw it, through the window, like Kai Cenat after he lost to Radon or whatever. But I get to Saint Denis for the first time. I'm strolling through the town on my horse, and I like get to around like the back of the town, and there's this swamp, and at the back of the swamp is a rainbow, kind of like arching over like the swamp area. And I'm looking around, I'm like, this game is gorgeous, man. Like, this is such a beautiful scenery, and I'm having a moment there. And as I finish that moment, I turn my horse around, and I accidentally knock over a civilian, and then the cops get alerted about that. And so now it's like, shit, because I turned the wrong way, I'm in this chase sequence with these cops, and I get out of Saint Denis, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm about to get away. And then one of the officers shoots me off my horse, and I'm like, shit, all right, it's on. And then they keep shooting, and then they accidentally kill my horse, trying to shoot me. And then I'm like, shit, I gotta revive my horse. And as I try to revive my horse, I get shot, and I die. And I'm like, shit, I didn't revive my horse. All right, cool. Let me just figure out. And I try to look up all the ways to revive my horse. I couldn't. It was just gone. I would need to load a save that I like a manual save that was from 10 hours earlier. And that was the horse I started the game with.
Death has to matter.
I love that. I brushed that horse's hair.
Death has to matter.
Yeah. You saw it,
And
ball,
I
bro.
Push that horse.
I had built up a relationship over time with that horse, and because of this dumb I couldn't turn around the right way because of how cumbersome the game is, knock down a civilian, all this shit happens, and now my horse is gone.
I mean, you gotta live with loss, Bus. You gotta. That's life.
The dead part.
It broke me. It broke
That's
me.
life.
And then we have Bobby Joe saying Red Dead Redemption 2, such a fun video game. Great story and GP gameplay. That's what that means. Next up, we're moving on from Red Dead, everybody. We're going to hold Greg accountable for something else. Something from Portland Kevin.
Hi, Greg. Portland Kevin here. I think you need to take another look at PSVR 2, or at least retire the bit of saying it's terrible.
I can't do
I've
this
started
anymore.
wondering if it's stifling the chances of it being great, or at least preventing fellow best friends from trying it. I've also had a friend tell me they almost quit listening to Kind of Funny content because of how much you and Blessing trash talk the PSVR 2. Though they didn't really understand it was a bit you guys were doing. I wonder if there are other people listening who were interested in it but didn't bother trying it because of this comedy bit.
It's not a bit.
So, sure, Sony really needs to support it more, but I don't think it helps anyone to trash talk the PSVR 2. It's got some great games that definitely deserve some attention, like Legendary Tales and Synth Riders. And I think you guys should definitely highlight it, or at least give it another chance. Anyway, still love your guys' content, and Uncharted 3 is still the best Uncharted game.
Thank you for the
Greg's always right, as I have always said that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've never
Portland
disagreed
Kevin,
with
I
you
want to
once.
thank you for writing in. I want to thank you for being such a dedicated, Kind of Funny best friend. You call out here. I've also had a friend tell me they almost quit listening to Kind of Funny content because of how much you and Blessing talk trash, blah, blah. What I'd say to that friend is just grow a pair. Are you in or you out? All right, I don't want wafflers, all right? Oh, well, they said one thing I didn't like. Well, then get the fuck out. Or are you in or you out? Are you in or you out?
But you have to announce your exit. You have to say, "All right, guys, I'm done." You got to be in the YouTube comments saying, "Like, I can't do
That
this
was
anymore.
it.
This is the last
That
episode."
was the straw. What's interesting about the PlayStation VR 2 backlash Blessing and I have faced over time is that I feel like the points we make get lost and grouped into this. We just hate PlayStation VR 2. When in reality, we talk about how much we like the tech. The tech's great tech. There are a few games on it that are, but I mean, like for Legendary Tales and Synth Riders, Kevin, can you show the trailers? They're hyperlinked here. I'm seeing like these are exactly what I'm talking about when I critique PlayStation VR 2 of like VR has stalled. VR is as big as it's going to get because all the VR experiences currently feel like I'm at Dave & Buster's. They feel like arcade experiences. They're not doing anything that you look at and go, I have to go play that. I have to dust this off. I've talked, I think on our final PS I Love You maybe, or one of the final ones, about the fact that PlayStation VR, I was in a different point in my life, obviously. PlayStation VR 2, I'm in a different point in my life with Ben and stuff like that, and it's just having the amount of time to play games where it's like, VR for me, sadly, is a thing of the past when we're not doing fun streams here. And when we do fun streams here, I think they work so well because it is, hey, jump into this arcade game and go bust some ghosts and go do the game we just, Asgard's Wrath 2, right? And it's like, yeah. But like, looking at Legendary Tales, who Upload VR gave a 3 out of 5, so it's not like it's, and I know, obviously, hey, not everybody and reviews are subjective, but like, this looks like every other VR experience. And this isn't me saying the game is bad. This isn't me saying the tech is bad. It's saying this doesn't move the needle. This doesn't make PlayStation VR 2 a success. This isn't something you show in a state of play and people go, I got to run out and get a PlayStation VR 2.
I think Bless audibly laughed at this one when it was on screen.
Well,
during
it's
this
because we
state
even
of-
get, oh yeah,
I think
well,
there was like a
Oh,
whole.
maybe.
All
No,
of
it
us,
wasn't. Was it this one?
all of us were just kind of like, "That. What the fuck is this?" You know, like
There's another one.
And
I think they
yeah.
showed that after a really impressive VR game. We're like, you can't show this one after that really impressive one.
And here's Synth Riders, which again is like, I'm not
looks awesome.
talking shit about this game, but it's just like, this looks like every other.
I've
VR,
played
like,
this game so many times, right?
how-
Whether it be Beat
and so
Saber or
our
Thumper.
point is never that PlayStation VR 2 sucks. Fuck them, they're stupid. You're stupid for liking it. Like what you like, as I always say, right? But it's the idea of sitting here going like, this isn't going to lead to financial success for PlayStation. This is not. I think they regret this decision. I don't even have to say I think. They are not supporting PlayStation VR 2 in a meaningful way that makes me go, oh, in 5 years, PlayStation VR 3, well, this, that, the
It's
other.
also not something that I would recommend people spend $300 or $400. I forget how much it even
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
Like $400 to go out and buy. It's a very expensive device, and if the library isn't there, I can't sit here and try to like hold water for it and argue for it when I think we would get backlash for that too, right?
Yeah,
People would be
100%.
like, "Oh man, you guys won't say anything negative about play." $550?
$550.
Is
that a bundle, though, or-
Amazon right now.
I'm on Amazon right now. It is $550 for just the console.
Like Portland Kevin and your fucking waffler of a friend. Come on. You know what I mean?
It's like I cannot sit here and tell anybody to spend $550 to play Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Yeah.
Like
Gran
Gran
Turismo,
Turismo, like
Resident
Before Your
Evil.
Eyes is dope, right? Resident Evil, like
and that's the thing.
there are games
you can
there.
get, if you've never joined it before, the Moss titles are there. They're insane. Like I love
Yeah.
those, but it's again like
I also think like people don't understand how much backlash me and Jana got for the PlayStation VR 2 review.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was more than I've said things that I'm like, man, I've gone back and thought, man, I had a bad take on that plenty of times. Even on this episode, I'm sure there's a year from now I'm gonna be like, man, I was hard on Red
we're
Dead
having a lot
Redemption
of
2 or
fun.
whatever. But like out of all of the shit that I've said, like that I've been recorded on content for 4 years every single fucking day, the PSVR 2 stuff is like the worst I've seen. And so like to get it that bad for PSVR 2, I feel like I should be allowed to make jokes about it. Like I feel like I should be allowed to like dunk on the people that are trying to like dunk on me and come at me and Janet for being like, yeah, it's okay. You know, it's a 3 out of 5. I think this Horizon Call of the Mountain game is okay. I think PSVR 2, including the library and the platform and everything that comes with it, is okay, right? We didn't even call it bad. We said it was fine. I think that's like a side of it, and I think that's where a lot of like the jokes come from, is the fact that we can't believe how buck wild people are over this.
yeah,
thing.
the fan base and how the fans that do love PlayStation VR 2 are so like, you said one thing wrong.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You're dead.
I
to
also
us.
think you pay that much, you feel like you're more attached to this device because you spend a lot of money on it, and they get even more hardcore about like the ownership over that.
And
you know?
people, I guess people followed you through the PSVR 1 era. People didn't get as much of me during PSVR 1 because I was on OKBeast and on kind. I love PSVR 1 as well. I
Yeah.
think people don't realize that I'm somebody who talks up Trover.
Let me tell you,
and
that
talks up
doesn't
Beat
help
Saber.
you. That doesn't help you. As somebody who also loved PlayStation VR and talked a lot about it, and we did a PlayStation VR show.
We did a whole
right?
show.
You loved Moss.
I did, still do. It was one of those like that didn't help me at all when we got to PlayStation VR 2, and I was like, they've sent it out to die. No, they haven't. There's X, Y, and Z, and they're all getting 7s and occasionally an 8. It's like, well, you understand the argument I'm making isn't the quality, it's more what are you going to do with this and the price and this. Like, it's a bigger thing than just saying PlayStation VR 2 sucks, which is not what we've said. Support sucks.
I want to move on. Oh, another super chat came in from Professor Funkenstein. Saying a good take from Greg is giving Monster Hunter Freedom Unite an 8. Him refusing to play Monster Hunter Rise because it's not World is a shit take.
That's fair enough. I did play Rise eventually, though. When it came to PlayStation, we did a thing. I did a thing for it.
Let's get to one more right now. Let's go to Big Fan.
Big
Kevin.
fan.
Hi, Greg Miller. Big fan of the show. I'm just curious why you think Metal Gear Solid 3 is overrated, even though it's better than 1
Yep, see,
and
there you
4.
go. There you go. There you go.
Finally.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
Bye.
That's where it gets. That's why it's overrated because it's not better than 1.
It's 1,000% better than 1.
It's not better than 1. This is, what are we talking about here? We're gonna go into the bucket of amazing games and be like, you give me 2 games. What do you like better? I like this amazing game better.
Well, let me ask a question here. Like, is Mr. Big Fan out there incorrect even in his assessment here? Like, because you prefer Metal Gear Solid 1 and 4 to 3, but do you believe that Metal Gear Solid 3 is overrated?
Yes, but
Oh
not,
shit! Okay,
right?
okay. I was trying to defend you here, dude.
But I mean, but it's like in the same sense of like we're at the bar, we're at this table, we're hanging out right now talking about it. I just think it's
I think it'd be one thing if you thought Snake Eater was
Sucks.
a 6 out
Yeah,
of 10.
yeah.
It was like, you all love that game's shitty. But you're just saying like people overrated in that it shouldn't be number 1 on everybody's list. It should be maybe 2 or 3. Or
it's
whatever.
it's one of those crazy situations where it's like Metal Gear Solid is like a life-changing game when me and Poe popped that into the PlayStation 1, right? And so like for that, followed by 2, I love Snake, I love this, blah, blah, blah. And then for 3 to drop and me be like, oh, like this isn't Solid Snake. I get what we're doing here and I like that fine, but who is Big Boss? I don't know. Like obviously I'm not taking away from the final fight with Boss, right? Like, I mean, or the game in general. Like I do love Metal Gear Solid 3, but it is that idea of like, oh, and it doesn't have the futuristic tech to some degree, you know what I mean? Because of the time period and this, that, and the blah. So it's just like, it's that idea of like, if playing all of those in a vacuum, because you know how for most of us, it was growing up, right? Where we were the biggest video game fan, and you're talking to these people, then to get to the industry, have a conversation with the audience and have them universally be like, no, 3. I'm like, really? Like I would put that in terms of the 3 that would be at the bottom of my list, not because it's trash, just because it wasn't what I I love about Metal Gear. It's in some respect.
Would you put it at
right?
the bottom of the overall Metal Gear list? Like,
It's been a while since we
mainline.
did this, but I think when I did it. Yes, I think I did do the main line at the bottom of it. Again, like I mean, for Greg Miller and Metal Gear, like my favorite franchise of all time, right? Like we're talking about games I would all think are 9s or above. Like I'm not here being like, fucking 3 can't even do it. No, 3 is great. I can't wait for this Delta remake. I can't wait to go in and give it a shot that way or whatever. But it was always one, like a great example of it. This actually softened because I think there's a way easier way to nail me to the cross on this one. Is that when they did the collection and it came to PS3 and Vita, right? Yeah, with transferring and all that jazz. I did the IGN review of it, and I remember when I wrote it. I think this might actually be the first time where I was like, "You think what about Metal Gear?" I think this is an errant shot that I was incorrect on because it was just like, you know how we used to review games, to your point too, of like, hey, here's the thing, the review embargo's tomorrow. Fucking shit. Okay, well, I'm going to play 2 because I love it and do this and touch 3 and blah, 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 blah. When I put it, I think I put in my review a sentence that was something like, Metal Gear Solid 2 is still this, Metal Gear Solid 3 story is still all over the place, ... And like, that is a line that has been thrown at me many a time. And I'm like, you know what? I actually do stand down on that. Sorry. I was in a hurry. I was writing. It was very much like me being like, fucking Colonel, the boss stuff's cool, but like, what's, you know what I mean? It was very much like, that was a flippant comment that I was just trying to put in my review of like, this is all still the same as we remember it, right? And everybody being like, that's not how I remember that. Oh, fucking shit. Sorry about that.
DJ Canto writes in and says, Greg clearly hasn't played Metal Gear Solid 3 the best way it's meant to be played. On the Nintendo 3DS. Remember that? That exists. Metal Gear Solid 3 on 3DS. Look it up. I actually have a picture that I really wish I had on me right now of me back at IGN when I was over the shoulder shooting Metal Gear Solid 3 on 3DS with Sakurai playing.
Oh,
wow.
shit.
Which was one of the coolest things ever.
What did Snowbike Mike call Colonel Volgin? Was it Virgil
Colonel Virgin?
Yes, I forgot what it was.
I don't remember.
An incredible name, though. Among all the great names.
Andy, you had something to say about Metal Gear?
I mean, well, I was just thinking about the overall like rankings and lists, and it's so hard to. It's asking me to rank the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, you always just think about your favorite parts and does this 10 out of 10 moment and how amazing that is go up against this 9 out of 5 moment. Like, It's so hard to rank those games. And I'm with Greg that I agree it's hard to rank your favorite things that are so highly regarded. I don't think I'd put Snake Eater at the bottom. I'd probably put maybe 4 at the bottom. But then I experienced 4 again. It's like, oh, fuck, man.
That's the thing.
It's
like,
so hard.
For me, 3 is consistently at the top for me, but I look at the rest of the Metal Gears and I rearrange them in any way, right?
Yeah.
Like, on some days, I think 5 is my second favorite, and I'm sure many people will be like, oh, that's insane. On another day, when we did the replay through of all of them, I was like, fuck, 4 is actually really, really good. I think my hot take is that I always had Metal Gear Solid 1 at the bottom. And I know plenty of people, I think equal amount of people would look at me insane for that as Greg saying 3 is at the bottom. And so I think it might also be a Mario Kart thing of your first Metal Gear might be your favorite, because MGS3 was the first one that I played through.
There may be a thing to it where when I think about Metal Gear Solid 5, and maybe it was just like the time and place. I was in college. I couldn't afford a lot of video games. So the ones that I played the fuck out of them. And I think of like how I spent hundreds of hours in Dragon Age Inquisition. And I had a great time with that experience. And Metal Gear Solid 5 was another one of those games that like I just lived in, and I wanted to just play any mission that I could, and I would replay all the missions, and the gameplay was so fucking superior to anything else I'd experienced. The movement, the stealth, the combat, all of that was so incredible. Collecting all the, Fultoning everybody back to the base, like that whole core concept was so incredible. And it's like, I don't love the story more than any of the other Metal Gear Solids. But I was just, it's easily the least favorite for me, but still had incredible story beats and awesome action moments, and the man in the mask fucking meeting everybody, and then like suddenly the super scary enemies are here that I always blank on their name. The Skull, what are they called? They're fucking terrifying though.
Fucking Metal Gear Sahelanthropus.
Yeah, that dude was so tall. He was so tall.
Dude, there's like I know the second chapter is where things get weird, but like there's a moment in the second chapter where things are going south at Mother Base, and this stuff is like burnt into my brain of like how real that shit is. I don't know. I think Metal Gear. I think Metal Gear Solid 5 is. I'm with you that it has like it's my least favorite of all the stories, but even the story moments in Metal Gear Solid 5,
you will regret your words and deeds. You see Quiet, you're just like, look at this horny lady, like this just for freaks out there that just want to play the video game, for all the horny dudes out there. You will regret your words.
You won't.
Yeah. See, I'm totally with Greg on this one, and for all the things you said of like we're talking about a bunch of 9s out of 10s. Like ranking them is just weird, but like I'm more of a Solid Snake guy than a big box guy, so it's like that alone. I like 1, I like 3, 2, and I really, really, really like 4. But I'm always a fan of Endgame. I'm always a fan of like let's bring it all together and like have the big moment. But I am very excited that 3's the one being remade right now. Like, I would prefer a 1 remake just because I would think that'd be so sick, but I want to give 3 another chance and, like, another chance to be like, am I wrong about it being the fucking best? Because clearly, majority of people think that 3 is the best. So, we'll have to wait and see where that all falls. But that's going to be so far away. While you wait, check out a word from our sponsors.
What's up, everybody? I'm Greg Miller with a Kinda Funny programming update for you. From now on, the Gamescast is going to be on Friday, and Monday, and Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday. That's right. We're making the Kinda Funny Gamescast live and daily. Why? Well, as you already know, 2024 is about doubling down on what we do best, our core content. So we've discovered that there are more than enough previews, reviews, and big topics that we're leaving on the table. And that means making the Gamescast daily makes a better product for you and us. So from now on, Monday through Friday, you're getting Kinda Funny Games Daily at 10 a.m., the Kinda Funny Gamescast at 11 a.m., and the Kinda Funny Games stream live at noon on Twitch and YouTube. That's 10 hours of game talk shows coming straight to you every single week, and that's not including Game Showdown every Friday. What does that mean for PSI Love You, XOXO, and XCast? It means we're going to be sunsetting them, but know that those conversations are carrying over to Gamescast. Bless and I are still going to talk about PlayStation. Mike and Paris are still going to talk about Xbox. The casts of these daily shows are dictated by who's the best fit for the topic at hand. But we've known it, and we've seen you saying it. PSI Love You, XOXO, and the XCast have kind of felt like Gamescast, just in a different podcast feed. So we're focusing on the conversations that are relevant and interesting and ditching being tied to a specific ecosystem so we can make a consistently better podcast that serves you. And in the spirit of doubling down on what works, we'll be streamlining our YouTube channels. Kinda Funny is moving all of its future shows to Kinda Funny Games. No more jumping between both channels for screencast, Kinda Funny podcast, or in review. It all lives on Kinda Funny Games. What happens to the Kinda Funny YouTube channel? We're making it Kinda Funny Highlights. Daily breakouts from our many talk shows to help you share and watch shorter segments. Because you know more than anyone how many great discussions we have in an episode that become buried in an hour-long podcast. So this allows us to give those discussions a way to shine. So to reiterate, you're getting more Kinda Funny Games content than ever with more varied discussions, a streamlined YouTube channel, and a highlight channel to help you watch the moments you're most interested in. That's a lot for an independent 11-person operation, but your support and feedback mean everything to us and help us set Kinda Funny up to have an incredible 10-year anniversary next year. And a special thank you for supporting us with the Kinda Funny membership. Members get ad-free recording and audio of our content, the ability to watch us record the afternoon podcast live as we record them, and the exclusive multimedia experience Greg Way, my daily vlog series. Hey, what out of drive, you piece of... Thank you, and as always, it's been my pleasure to serve you.
And we are back. David Flores writes in his super chat saying, give me a Winter Soldier game that plays like Metal Gear Solid 5.
Ooh-wee.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Let me knife flip.
Andrew Stelner says, Greg Miller would unironically recommend Assassin's Creed Odyssey over Red Dead Redemption 2. Explain yourself, you monster.
I don't think that's that crazy.
Yeah, I think we've already done it, right? There, one game gets you instantly into the fun, and another just fucking bores you till chapter 3.
Well, I'll say that about both. It's too boring as franchise.
Odyssey, Cassandra, come on.
It's Assassin's Creed.
Did you ever play Odyssey?
No.
Maybe Shadows would be.
But you're not allowed to touch.
I think Shadows will be my one.
No, you're not allowed to touch it. You just talk shit about it. You're not allowed to touch it.
But like, you know, it's me giving it a third chance.
Well, I mean, shit. I wish I was on 3. It's me giving Assassin's Creed an 8th chance. Like, this might be the one, though.
I'm really connected with
It's me. It's me every year with the Dallas Cowboys. Here, this might be the year.
I guess I did boot up Valhalla too. So this will be my 4th try.
Yeah.
Brain13 says, where are the real bad takes? Like playing Avengers or hating Whataburger, you Neanderthal.
Fair enough. Hey, man, again, I've given Whataburger multiple shots now.
SD Turtle.
I haven't had the one in the fucking airport, though. I know.
the one in the airport, everybody.
I want you to know, though, I get a DM or a tweet every couple times a month being like, I'm at the Whataburger in the Houston airport. You're right. And it's like, that's the one that needs to be the representative.
That's
when
the
aliens come to Earth and say, what's the best Whataburger on this planet? You go to the one of the Houston Continental Airport. Yeah.
Okay. I've been in
United Terminal.
I've been in that airport like multiple times. I did not realize I needed to go to the Whataburger.
Oh my God. It is like so.
I tried that one time. I couldn't find it. I
It
ended up
is
getting tacos.
so unhealthy.
Somebody
and
remind.
incredible.
I'm going to Houston in like
Planet Houston.
like after October. Somebody remind me toward the end of October to go to that.
Somebody being Andy.
Just anybody in chat.
You give me a date, I'll schedule a text right now.
Sick.
SD Turtle says, Greg, you gave Naughty Bear a 3 out of 10. I love that game. It's definitely jank, but it's not awful. I really hope we get a new port as the performance was bad.
I knew this one would come up. So my review is pulled up from June 30th, 2010. Still one of my favorite leads I ever wrote at IGN. I've only played a few hours of Naughty Bear, but I don't need to waste any more of my time to tell you that this game is a waste of yours. Naughty Bear is an embarrassment. It shouldn't be purchased by anyone, anywhere. Gave it a 3, which is an awful on this IGN scale. Verdict: Naughty Bear could have been cool, but it isn't. It's a bad game. You shouldn't play it. That is one that everybody comes up, and lots of time people are joking, and then there's sick little fucks like this that are like, oh no, if you excuse all this stuff, it was fine. It was the performance. It was this one.
I'd like to go back in time and ask you what kept you from giving it a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, I think it ran.
Oh.
You know what I mean? That's how I always
It was
went down
functional
there.
somewhat.
Let's get back to people writing in or calling in. Excuse me. Let's get to Dave.
Hey, Greg, it's Dane from Louisiana. I'm a huge fan. Just want to say I think one of your worst takes is the take on Hogwarts Legacy. I think you should have maybe given it a better chance last year. I think it was one of the best games out there last year. And overall, all the J.K. Rowling things aside, I think it's just a great game. All right, have a good one.
An interesting one, because what's my take on Hogwarts Legacy? I don't care about Harry Potter, so I was never going to touch it to begin with. And then, of course, we support all people here and all races, religions, creeds, sexuality, preferences. So, the J.K. Rowling stuff was fucking abhorrent. So, we wanted to talk about that at length of how bad that was.
We also didn't get a review code, right?
We also didn't get a review code, probably because we were so loud about how much, this fucking sucks that the person at the head of this IP, not the developers, the IP is has so many terrible takes, right? So an interesting one I don't have a take on Hogwarts Legacy, because this would be like, oh, Greg, your take on fucking Avatar Winds of Pandora. Way of Water is terrible, where it's like, wait, is that not the one?
Well, the movies.
The Ubisoft game that I also didn't play because I don't care about Avatar.
Pandora.
I like a Ubisoft game. I like a Check World List open world, but not where I'm going to go play an Avatar game. And I like I don't even know what you call it. I guess similar thing. Open world. I like it, but I don't want to be a wizard. I don't want to be a Harry Potter person.
I don't think any of us played enough Hogwarts. At least any of us at the table played enough Hogwarts Legacy to be like, oh, it was bad.
I think you might be the only person who did at the table.
Me?
Yeah.
I played an hour, and I was kind of like, I don't need this. And it was partly also just because I was like, I don't even want to play it for content. I'm just gonna play it just because I'm curious about it. But even then, I was like, all right, if I was more invested in Harry Potter as a franchise, I could have seen myself pushing through it. But it's that thing where, again, I don't think we've also ever judged people who wanted to play it. We're never like, oh, if you played Hogwarts Legacy, you're a bad person or whatever. But for me, with Harry Potter, I grew up, watched all the movies, and I am disconnected from it enough to where the J.K. Rowling stuff is enough of a turnoff to be like, yeah, no, I don't need to play this. But also, I get for people who are super connected, I understand why that's a difficult thing. I have supported many a thing or many a music artists where I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be real tough to give this up. Man, I listened. Man, if y'all knew how much of a Kanye West fan I was from the years of 07 through probably 019 or whatever, or up until recent years, I had to really be like, all right, I got to slow down a lot on the Kanye West listening. And that took a lot. And I understand for people who are so invested in a franchise or so invested into a thing that they love so much, that get fired up when they feel like they're being attacked for loving it. And I don't think anybody should feel attacked for loving a thing. But I think for us, it was just an easy thing to be like, well, at least for me, it was the easy thing for me to be like, yeah, no, I don't need to play more of this.
It was one of those things where, like, I think 10 to or 12-year-old Andy would have been like all about this video game. And yeah, I'm right there with Blessing. I do not think you are a questionable or bad person for liking or playing this game. It would like, I feel like if I didn't have trans friends in my life who told me that they felt really, I had 4 people in my life. One person, one trans person that was like, I think I'm gonna play it, and I had 3 of them that were like, I'm probably not gonna support this. I'm not gonna support this. I don't feel comfortable doing it, and that was enough for me to be like, all right, then I won't either. And it wasn't like life or death for me, where I'm like, I'm not that hardcore of a fan where I needed to like fight those feelings. Otherwise, I probably would have given it a shot, but there was a lot of games out already, so it's like this didn't feel like the must play that I needed to.
For sure.
And I don't like. From just reception online and the caller talking about like, oh, it's one of the best games last year. It didn't seem that way from the reviews, and just from like last year we got Baldur's Gate 3.
It was that thing where if you remember when it came out, there was that initial group, everybody who played it, and I should say everybody, a lot of people who played it were like, whoa, game of the year contender, right? And then I think that waned as the year went on.
Yeah.
And then also as the detractors came out, like, look at this combat. Like the wand is. But again, I didn't play, so I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. We have 2 back-to-back that I want to play here, starting with one from Vampire Mommy.
Okay, honestly, Greg, I don't have that many bad takes.
Yeah!
But, come on, man. Resident Evil 8? It had the tall Vampire Mommy, man. How do you hate that? Oh, she's literally perfect.
Yeah.
I don't care that she turns into a dragon or whatever and you have to kill her. Like, ignore that. Ignore all the bad parts of the game. That first 3 hours where she's there, peak gameplay.
Ignoring all the bad
That's
parts
not even
of
the best part of the game.
Next up, we got Ari Fan.
Hi, Greg. As a fan of yours, as a console over PC gaming, and a lover of horror games, how can you continue to think the medium even comes close to the masterpiece that is Resident Evil 8? Like, it just doesn't make sense. They are clearly in 2 different lanes. Even if I am biased over Resident Evil. Anywho, have a great day, and I appreciate all that Kinda Funny does. Much love.
This is the one I was talking about from the beginning.
I'm glad they were able to drag the medium in. I'm glad that got pulled in.
I'm going to jump in real quick because I played Resident Evil 8. I don't really love playing scary games. I did not think this game was like a masterpiece. There's a lot of moments that I hated playing in Resident Evil 2 that I was like genuinely scared of because it just made me feel like garbage and scared and awful. But like I see that Resident Evil 2 and understand why it's like one of the most beloved games ever. Resident Evil 8, there's a lot of like just dumb shit in that game and I think Ethan Winters is like awful as a protagonist. But I agree with Vampire Mommy that like when the vampire section is done, I'm like, oh man, I don't get to see them again. Like,
how about like the
what's next?
The little baby fetus thing?
Oh, that was awful.
That was the best part of that
like,
video
that
game.
was good, but it was like awful to experience. But then like at the end of it, it's Call of Duty. You're shooting werewolves, and it's a shooting range. And I was like, this is cool for the person who likes action games in me, like just like the trying to get headshots or whatever.
Yeah.
But this doesn't.
Yeah,
it just changes too much. But all that being said, I didn't try the medium, but I saw a lot of the medium, and that's where I'm like, maybe they have a point with Greg and
Before you even go, Greg, I want to say this too, because I am probably the biggest fan of Resident Evil Village here at this table, and even I will say, on the new Kinda Funny scale, Resident Evil Village is an 8 out of 10 to me. I'm not saying it's a 9. I'm not saying it's a 10. I could even make an argument for a 7.5. Like, I'm being realistic on where this is at. There's parts of this game that are really good, and there's parts of the game that are just okay. There are parts of the game that are horrible. There are parts of the game that maybe are, like, flirting with bad. I don't even think there are parts that are bad, though. The protagonist is bad, but gameplay-wise and, like, what we're doing with the game itself.
Hated that guy.
It's like, the story and all that stuff, maybe not for everybody, but it's like, to say that the game is bad, I think is a wild take. To bring the medium into it, which is just like, Like the medium is like I got halfway through that game and I was like, you know what? This is just not hitting the way it needs to. To bring it up against Village, that's where I'm like, Greg, you are a madman. What say you?
Why does this keep happening to me?
This is a great one. This is an actual fun one to bring out, right? Because I feel like this is almost like a fucking jawbreaker where there's like a core, but so much has been layered on top of it throughout it, right? Where I think the actual, because I have obviously in content really banged the drum on how bad the Village is, right? I think both, on the new kind of funny scale, I would give both, and this is also hard because I'm not coming fresh off of my playthrough of the Village or the medium for that matter. But what I've said when this does come up and we have an honest conversation is like, it's not that I think the medium is great. People always read in that I think the medium is a 9 out of 10, right? It's like, no, I think the medium's probably, like on our new scale right now, having not played either of them, I'd probably give them both 6s. I just think that like the medium does something that's interesting for me with story. Whereas I found Resident Evil Village to be wholly uninteresting. I hate Ethan Winters. I think they introduce cool characters, but then they get rid of them too quickly. It is just shooting werewolves at the end. It is my fucking baby's multiple parts in a jar and a fucking sender thing, and there's this fat guy. And it's just like, this is all so outlandish. And I
you know how I feel about fat people.
Oh, man, you know what I mean? It's all so outlandish, and I can't suspend my disbelief. And I think there are a lot of cool ideas here that just don't get fleshed out. I think the medium's the exact same way. A lot of cool ideas that do not get fleshed out. But I enjoyed the breadcrumbs of the medium more, of seeing it through the end and be like, oh, I liked going through that and doing that. But over the time, it has just become the fact that, like, because, like, again, like,
you were going to give them scores a little while ago.
I just said 6. That was what I was
Oh,
doing.
both? Oh, shit.
That's what
okay.
I would probably do,
Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Again, I'd love to have gone back and had that at the time and yada, yada, yada. But, like, that's another one where, like, I'm playing it for review. And I actually we'll redact all the names. I had a person who's in the video game industry at one of the companies at our house. And they were like, oh, man, like, you're playing, yeah, what do you think? I'm like, oh, I don't think it came together. Like, oh, shit, really? Blah, blah, blah. And then when the scores came out, I was like, oh, I am the odd man out. I am just the one. And it's the craziest thing of, like, for how much I loved 7, right? But it was something about...
Yeah, which I don't understand.
I know. It was something about the strip back of, like, just this, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre family. And the fact that it was all anchored around them, and they're cutting each other up at the table, and there was, like, so much going on where
but
it's
even
like...
that's just the beginning of the game.
I know, but I think it's set up so well where we're going until it also gets crazy. I'm on a fucking boat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, but, like, the Village just didn't.
There you go, everybody.
There you go.
I regret nothing.
Mason M says, agree with my bad take that the Iron Giant sucks. Mason, why would you write in?
Iron Giant.
That's an awful thing to say.
To just expose yourself like that.
The Iron Giant. Interesting.
What's his name?
Mason. His name is Mason.
Mason.
M.
How does Mason feel about Up? I'm curious.
Mason, you nailed it.
Let me tell you about Up, though.
Wait,
Blessing.
are you kidding right now?
Everybody, oh, you love Superman. You love Superman.
even
Watch
realize.
the Iron Giant. I watched the Iron Giant. I've forgotten most of it.
Oh my
Whatever.
God.
He loves Superman.
Yeah, I know. So what? A lot of
He
people
has
do,
this
Kevin. You
little-
love Superman.
It's true.
I love you.
Mason says this is a dumb movie. I can't help that.
Oh, my God.
Let me tell you about Up,
Go
though,
for it,
Blessing. Let me just.
I've
let
actually
me
not
just-
seen.
Oh, Up's good. You
Let
should
me
watch
just
it.
tell you about Up. though.
Wally too.
Let me tell you
Ben's
about
into
Up.
Wally now.
I gotta watch Wally.
Up,
Organize a showing with me and Ben.
Up, not better than Wally. Shouldn't have been ranked on higher than Wally on our rankings. Here's the thing about Up,
I'm
Blessing.
gonna add them to my
The
list.
thing you remember the most is that amazing intro, and the rest of it's good. But that intro, like, just carries the rest of Up, where Wally should have been ranked higher. Joey Noel, I'm looking at you. How dare you do that to me? Wally
was
is a
right.
better movie than Up. How do you hate Wally? Who hates Wally?
Wow.
I just added it to my list of movies to watch. So now it's Mad Max franchise, Planet of the Apes, Nolan movies, Fifth Element, and Wally with Ben.
Oh, Lord of the Rings isn't there?
Put Up on there, dude. Put Up on that list.
Up, look,
please.
I'll add all that up.
Let's get to the next one, which is Kevin Bothel.
Good name.
Greg Miller, this is Tavin Bothel from the Two Penny Gamescast, and I've been watching your content
Tavin,
for about
yeah.
10 years. And I gotta say, the most offensive take that you've had in those 10 years is a recent one. And it is quite simply that you are spending time playing games like Rise of the Ronin when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is right in front of you. You enjoy your little open world complete-a-thons checklist games. Rebirth is the best
Ghost Road.
checklist game ever. And I've reviewed both games on Two Penny Games, youtube.com/@2pennygames. And I will tell
Love
you,
it.
even though I dinged Rebirth for its checklistiness, It is so much better than anything that happens in Rise of the Ronin. You, sir, are doing not only the PlayStation audience a disservice, but yourself a disservice. And I fully recommend that you finally pony up and play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because it's one of the best games ever made, even making it to my own personal top 10, and that's a fickle list. Thank you, sir. You have a great rest of your day.
I was hoping Tavin was like, so I recommend you grow a pair.
Greg Miller, what say you?
I don't think Mr. Bothel's wrong necessarily on that one. You know what I mean? Again, Rebirth landed. We had enough reviewers. I moved on to other stuff, including Ronin or whatever. And I think, again, you can tell me if I'd be doing it the disservice. My reasoning on doing so much of Ronin at the time, right, after even reviewing it, was the idea that I can play Ronin with no sound on. Like, I'm just running through and doing these things, and I enjoy the gameplay loop of it, right? Whereas with a Final Fantasy, I'm expecting, I want to hear the story, I want to hear the cutscenes, I want to be a part of that. Obviously, eventually, it's going to open up into checklisty, open worldy, blah, 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 but I wasn't sure when that would happen. And also, it's a mood thing, where something about that Final Fantasy setting after I got done with whatever I was done with and had that gap wasn't where I wanted to be, right? Like, right now I'm playing so much Fallout 76 because of coming off Fallout the show. We were all high on it, right? And I was like, okay, cool. And then I jumped into this and I found a game there. And I'm, again, last night, playing it one earbud in, running around doing my missions while I talk to Jen or whatever. But no, I know I need to get to Rebirth. I do not have any hate or distaste for Rebirth.
My prediction is that you never get to Rebirth.
It's probably true. Like, the best intentions, right, are all the time on these shows of like, oh, I want to get back to that. But like, I live and die by what I'm reviewing for work, right? And what the next headline is going to be. Maybe is the fact that with the daily Gamescast now, I do think that there's a place for Greg Miller's Rebirth review, right? Like, where it is, we get to a point where there isn't an immediate thing I need to be playing, or what can I, in my afternoons, what can I play at the office to get me going? I think that
Labor Days 12 says, those are valid reasons, Greg, but you're still a bad person for this.
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons I'm a bad person, but I will take that as well. Yeah. I understand.
We also just all got to kind of come together as a company and really talk about the disservice that was done by this dude to my left with Tears of the Kingdom.
God. I was thinking about that.
At least
it
still got Game of the Year.
If it didn't, I would have been, because of his vote of not seeing at the end. But like in the Game of the Year, I'll never forget. Like, while we were reviewing that game, I think Greg brought up the term, let's think of like a Game of the Year that isn't Tears of the Kingdom. Like, he kind of like started that phrase. And then in the Game of the Year conversation, fast forward, was like, you're fucking building whatever shit. Just because he didn't beat it.
Somebody needed to be the red team on that one. Somebody needed to stand up and have at least some kind of conversation about it.
I was just telling Bless this on Games Daily earlier today, but with all the Switch 2 rumors coming out of like there probably being a Breath of the Wild, at the very least, if not both that and Tears of the Kingdom remaster, port up, who the fuck knows what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I went down the rabbit hole, as I often do, of YouTubing what does Breath of the Wild look like in 4K, 8K, RTX, all that stuff, allegedly, all that shit. And it's just like, God, it's just so good. But no matter how beautiful the game is, just watching the game, I'm just like, this is a fucking video game, man. And goddamn, these games are just so incredible and special. And I'm like, no matter how busy I am, if they do re-release those games, I'm gonna play it again.
Oh yeah,
maybe not to completion, but I'm like, maybe that's when Greg will be able to see Tears of the Kingdom through to the end.
You want to
also maybe not. It's just such a big thing.
It's a massive undertaking, but you want to see your favorite. For me, at least, you want to see one of your favorite things ever with a better coat of paint. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see that shit playing smoother. I heard they might lock it to 30. Like I heard the new Switch might be able to get a consistent.
We might actually get that.
Yeah, 1080 30.
Whoa.
Watch out.
Any thoughts there, Greg?
No, I mean, I enjoyed my time with Tears of the Kingdom. Like, there's no shade at all about that. But again, I think, as we just came off of the great discussion about what the Kind of Funny review scale meant, it was that honest thing of like, what does our Game of the Year mean, right? Like, we don't need to be the IGN of it or this, that, the other. So for my personal list, when I knew it didn't even really matter, right? Like, I wasn't worried about it. It was that thing of like, I don't know what it was. If I had my enjoyment on that game and then put it down and never felt like, oh man,
I think life got in the way for you.
Yeah, and that's all. And again, it's back to my point of like, if I'm going to be on the review, I'm going to review it and go through and do the damn thing. But like, then you miss that and you're going to play something for fun. But I'm always playing a review for fun, right? Like making the content and doing that's always it. So it always edges it out somewhere.
Let's do one more to end this episode, but we do have some more. We might be able to get even more.
Fuck.
If this episode has inspired you, if there's anything you're like, I can't believe that they haven't called Greg Miller out for X, Y, or Z, we will probably put out a call at some point to get some more because this was a lot of fun.
Did we do, what's the number? Do we know the number off the, I'm grabbing the number.
But yeah, think about all that stuff. And if you like this episode, let us know in the comments below if you want to see more of this from Greg or if there's anybody in particular here that you want to see called out. Don't say what you want him called out for, but let's just see who you're rooting for, what we're going on. Bless already said he ain't doing it.
Yeah,
so
I'm not doing
we're
it.
moving on from Bless.
I don't want to hear from
you know.
you.
But Andy Cortez,
Don't say
shit
your
to
opinions
me.
online. They're bad.
I feel like it might be a real short episode with Andy, but
I
who
mean,
knows?
all I said was that ARMS would be the best Nintendo franchise.
Best new theme song.
I thought ARMS was going to take over, Bless.
I used to be excited for what was the fucking Square game? It was like a near follow up that they turned into a multiplayer live service thing.
Godfall?
No, it was very painterly looking.
I was so excited for that game, and then it came out, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Well, they'll bring it up right.
Babylon's Fall.
Babylon's Fall.
It was Babylon's Fall. I thought it was gonna be good. That was my ARMS.
2015 PAX Kid with the final one, Kevin, if you could please play that.
Is this the kid that he roughed house with? Oh, no.
That was at KC.
He did what to it?
2015 PAX, Seattle, Washington. Infamous trivia. 10 years ago, almost. You told me face to face in a trivia competition for Infamous that Second Son was one of the best games you played.
Was that
it?
It
Was okay. Greg, my friends bullied me about that game and that trivia for almost 10 years. You did this to me, Greg.
Is this Paul Dano's The Riddler?
Greg Miller.
Wait, this happened in 2018?
Infamous Second Son.
He
One
said
of the best
15,
games you
right?
ever played.
15.
Wasted Madam says L's theme should be playing.
I'm looking.
I love that dramatic pause.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. That was a really well delivered thing.
Yeah.
But you said Infamous Second Son was one of the best games you played?
So I've never been afraid of owning a bad take. I do not recall this one, and it does not. And chat, you probably know better than me even. That does not sound like a take I ever held, which makes me really start Googling around. I remember a Top Pot Donut meet and greet where we all played Peace Walker. Was that it? Or, because what year would that be? Because, like, I remember, he said it was 2015?
2015 PAX.
Top Pot Donut.
2015 PAX.
Great donut
kinda
shop
funny.
up in Seattle. You want to stand
what?
up for it? You want to stand up for it? Seattle boy?
Sorry, I was
Top Pot Donut?
watching.
Top Pot Donut?
I've never been there.
Oh, shit, really?
Top Pot Donut?
Yeah.
What about
I'll
Family
write it down.
Pizza? Me and
Put it right underneath watching. So
Top
Infamous
Pot Donut.
Infamous Second came out in 2014.
Yeah.
So here's where I would cobble together what I think happened, but I'm not trying to argue against PAX Kid. I remember at a PAX going to Sucker Punch and doing the preview for Second Son, where they showed the lighting effects and how it walked on the water, blah, blah. And I assume we played it there as well. I would think it's possible I left that and said, this thing looks and plays amazing. But I've never, unless I'm drunk off my ass, I don't think I ever on a Beyond or anywhere else was like, Infamous Second Son is one of the best games I've ever played. Because it definitely isn't. And if I had rolled credits, I would definitely think I didn't say that.
But
So
it
I just
used
didn't.
the touchscreen.
Yeah, I remember. Delson Road. You shake the controller for the spray paint. Yeah, that's all true. So I don't remember this. It also sounds very weird that in an Infamous trivia competition, I said to his face, like, I'm not saying it didn't happen. Maybe I was doing a bit. Maybe it's one of those where there was an argument happening and I had to pick a side. And I just picked that side.
And you picked the aggressive one.
I'm sorry.
Surprise.
I apologize to you that this comment led to your friends making fun of you. I'm a little lost on that narrative.
10 years of bullying.
The whole thing is a little confusing. You can call back into the number. Shit, I had the number a second ago, didn't I?
This feels like
573-2 203-5374 if you have more Greg Miller takes you want to say for a second episode.
This feels like Syndrome meeting Mr. Incredible.
Yeah.
And just kind of getting like a random comment and being like, I've hated you my whole life.
Yep.
I don't even know who you are.
Well, there you go. What a great time this has been. Greg, how do you feel about your takes?
Vindicated.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? What was I wrong about? We just went through all this. I stand by most of this. This infamous thing I don't remember, I apologize. And what was the other one?
I mean, Red Dead 2. Andy.
No, I agree with that one.
Yeah.
I'm right.
Okay,
I'm right about that one. You know what I mean?
Oh,
maybe I'll get on Switch now, play it there.
That'll solve all the problems, everybody. Let us know in the comments below what your takes are on Greg's takes.
Yep.
And remember, you can call that phone number that Greg just said for you to call in for your takes for another episode.
573-203-5374. The phone lines are open.
Phone lines are open, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday while we do the Kind of Funny Gamescast. We do this each and every weekday. We're live from 10 a.m. pretty much all day with a whole bunch of fun stuff from Kind of Funny Games Daily, straight into Gamescast, straight into a fun gameplay stream. And guess what? On Fridays, we even throw in a fun trivia game show called Kind of Funny Games Showdown. Hang out with us. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on all the podcast feeds. Hang out right now because the boys are about to continue their Pokemon journey. You can watch on Twitch. Just stay right here. But if you're watching on YouTube, I need you to make the jump to a different link. The link should be live right now, so you could already open that tab. I can feel you doing it, and it feels good. Thank you so much for all of that. But until next time, I love you all. Goodbye.